There's a lot to talk about, and a lot that has already been said when it comes to the Monogatari series. But before I dig into any of that, I'm going to do something really basic and talk about the openings. Pretty much all of them have some unique point of appeal, and considering there's over 20 of them as of Zoku, that's impressive. Now, I may not be Jeff Mother's basement, but I've studied the art of the anime OP. I think I know what I'm doing. That's a lie. I never know what I'm doing. Let's just get started. Also, if you're going to watch this video, proceed under the notion that I'm just going to be spoiling everything in the whole series. That's not really the case, but there are going to be spoilers in here, so just act like I'm going to spoil the whole thing. Okay, look, I get what's going on here. The inverted aesthetic of 07734 or Hello is pretty cool, but it being one of the shorter OPs doesn't help it stand out in my mind. I don't think Monogatari has any bad openings per se, but this is definitely the least of the good. I appreciate the cute montage of Senjo Gahara as she sings about her love for Araragi, but that's pretty much all Dreamy Date Drive is. In the context of Hitagi Rendezvous, a calm before the storm that was Ougi dark, it's the perfect tone setter, and a cathartic reminder of how much she's grown as a character. Unfortunately, like most of the others at the bottom of my list, it's plagued by having to compete with over 20 other great openings. White Lies is a solid Shinobu opening. I love the way the music builds to a crescendo, love the art style from the EDs, love the chorus in place of Shinobu vocals, but it's not one I find myself going back to that often. Mine Schatz is basically the same as White Lies, but with cooler imagery and lyrics. Not sure if the love song is aimed at Araragi from Shinobu's perspective, or if it's for her from Seishiro's perspective, but either way, it works well with the arc it's attached to. Yeah, this opening is a bop. That's pretty much all I have to say about the last day of my adolescence. It's good. Futa Kotome pairs a catchy song with colorful visuals, but it doesn't offer anything I can't get from other Senjo OPs. It's kinda weird that this one has the stapler samples instead of the one titled Staple Stable, but hey, it works. For Sodachi, existence is suffering, and that's what makes the imagery of her clinging to life in Evening Shower Equation so powerful. Feel free to correct my interpretation here, but in the cold world Sodachi inhabits, the fire seems to represent what keeps her alive. It starts as an object in her hands, something external she doesn't possess. She survives by simply going through the motions, but her situation doesn't improve. The lyrics, our own formula, the one that proves who we are, can only be solved by us, even as we err again, signify that in order to move forward, she must accept herself and the pain of moving forward, at which point the flame consumes her. Nothing has changed around her, but she's able to embrace herself and attempt to resist the bitter cold by putting on a scarf. The lantern she once held now surrounds her, that desire for happiness symbolically assisting her in her fight to attain it. My main nitpick with this OP is that, even if the lyrics are good, I don't care for the song that much. I might have more to take away from this one on a thematic level, but at the end of the day, I like listening to anime openings, not dissecting them. Wow, that sure ended up being a tone shift. My stance on Kairi Michi depends on what kind of a mood I'm in at the time. And although I remember loving it when I first watched Mayoi Snail, I'm just not feeling it at the time of writing this. On the one hand, what's not to love about an optimistic world of cute hachikujis? On the other, it's also extremely loud, high-pitched, and hyperactive. For a surface-level introduction to hachikuji, it's good, but her other openings are better. Oh no, there's 16 of these things left and I'm already struggling. I've made a terrible mistake. If this were a tier list, we've definitely reached A tier. Guess I gotta throw Kanbaru under the bus, unfortunately. Ambivalent World is a really percussive track, and drums are super my aesthetic. Miyuki Sawashiro's vocals are beautiful, the color design is gorgeous, the imagery is iconic, and to top it all off, the symbolism is incredibly subtle. Like, wow, did you know white lilies were synonymous with lesbians? It's a classic. and the fact that I have it this low is a testament to how strong Monogatari's OPs are. Now we get to the other lewd dumbass tomboy of the Monogatari series. Marshmallow Justice is basically a shonen opening for the combative Karen, so naturally I love it. The bee imagery is on point, from the hive-like background to the creatures themselves. The bright flames look amazing, and the animation is fluid. They did my girl justice. Marshmallow Justice. Hey. I'm sad that I can't put this opening any higher, because the way the pieces of each cut flow into each other is really cool. Perfect Slumbers might even be one of the most visually interesting Monogatari OPs in spite of how slow and calm the song is. I do appreciate the lyrics of Koyomi being Hanakawa's one light within the darkness, of how even though he reaches out to help her, she's not yet ready to take that hand at the cost of rejection. Now I want to see Hanakawa play guitar in the series proper. Not sure if she'd be any good at it, considering how she is with cooking, but it seems like her thing. Nisio, please? Renai's circulation goes above and beyond to set up the facade of Nadago's character, to the point where it cleverly but blatantly spoils a major plot development before Nisio had even written it yet. It's bouncy and moe, it lays the groundwork for one of my absolute favorites, and with later context in mind, the atmosphere totally changes. I'd listen to a 10-hour loop of this. Maybe. I knew that there were two different versions of this opening, but I only just realized that they also have different names. Can't say I'm a huge fan of the joint vocals with Kaiki, but it's a charming mess, I suppose. Kind of like their relationship as a whole. The clash of aesthetics and expressions from the past and present is well done, and even the music feels reminiscent of the poppy tracks you'd find in classic anime. Combine all of that with the imagery of a snake trying to devour a crab, and you've got a strong primer for Hitagi End. I prefer Fast Love over Kogarashi Sentiment just because it doesn't have Kaiki vocals in it, but this is about where the two average out. I don't have much to say about Dark Cherry Mystery. The way it uses light is cool, Ougi flying through the background is kinda funny, and Ougi raps. I didn't know I needed that in my life, but I'm glad I got it. Breaking into the top 10 is Staple Stable, easily the best Senjo Gahara song coupled with distinctly oishi visuals. There's something nostalgic about watching that little stapler chomp its way across the live-action backgrounds. It works well as an introduction to Bake, as well as the Monogatari series in general. Orange Mint is an opening with creative animation and a fun track that feels like a light platinum disco. I won't dance along with it beat for beat, but I will at least bob my head in tune. I love the twisting perspectives and the general way this one plays with space. My favorite cut might be the part where Yotsugi is depicted as this flat cutout thing, only to then jump through dimensions into a 3D space. There are a bunch of moments like that where they fold in on themselves, rotate horizontally, dance at the top of the screen. It's a neat little sequence for a character who has a consistent habit of breaking the fourth wall. Speaking of platinum disco, how can I not appreciate a dancing phoenix? Look, even Araragi did the thing. The series itself has memed this OP in-universe. It's a classic. Enough said. By far Hanakawa's most aggressive opening, Sugar Sweet Nightmare once again showcases the artistic genius of director Tatsuya Oishi. If Staple Stable symbolized my fond nostalgia for Bake's style, this one captures a more somber lament over Oishi's complicated departure. I'd love to see him return, but aside from Kizu, the Monogatari anime has long since moved beyond his original vision. Tsubasa Cat is Hanakawa at her worst. And while a line like, "I'm not as much of an angel as you think I am," plays into the arc's initial impact of shattering her flawless jealous class president persona, the lyrics also continue the story presented in Tsubasa Family. Just like I did on that day, I keep on waiting. I've given up, and I'm waiting even now. Her fear of rejection has locked her in place, and in her stagnation, those once radiant feelings transformed into demons. The song is basically Hanakawa pleading for Araragi to accept her feelings before she kills them both, and the visuals create tension by using static shots to build up to a burst of frantic energy. The chorus repeating over matching shots of Hanakawa at the beginning and Black Hanakawa at the end is a brilliant shorthand of her journey to this point. She might not be perfect, but this opening sure is. The kaleidoscopic imagery on display in Mathemagics is a sight to behold. I love how the geometric shapes incorporate a pivotal part of Sodachi's character into the visuals, and also act as a foundation for the opening to loop back in on itself. It's a cool trick that only enhances the hypnotic atmosphere of this stellar sequence. Sodachi Lost might have stood out more to me thematically, but the aesthetic of Sodachi Riddle's introduction is too good to match. Choosing between Happy Bite and Terminal Terminal basically comes down to a coin flip, so I might as well call it a tie. I slightly prefer the visuals of the former, but I like the latter as a song. In Happy Bite, Hachikuji sings about not wanting to go home and how she'd rather stay lost if it means she could stay with Araragi. It's basically her version of Sugar Sweet Nightmare, although in her case, she romanticizes stagnation. There are no demons in her dreamlike world, but the unfortunate thing about dreams is that you eventually have to wake up from them. This leads into Terminal Terminal, where Hachikuji now finds herself in a proactive role. No longer lost, she descends into the depths of hell to see Araragi's welcoming presence once again, and in a reversal of their first encounter in Bake, she guides him back home. It's a beautiful story and an adorable package. Now can somebody please fix Hachikuji's fang? You can't put that thing front and center and expect me to not be bothered by it. If you're gonna do the flesh fang, at least be consistent. Why bother coloring it white if you're not gonna close the mouth line? Ah! Decent Black contains basically everything I'll remember Ougi for in a nutshell. You've got the cryptic platitudes about greed, contradictions, and lies, the smug confidence, the ominous playfulness, the way she bends reality and fearlessly flies across the screen. She commands the frame yet still manages to hide in the shadows, and at the end, she poses with her magnifying glass and detective hat, as if she's not the main mystery that needs to be solved. She claims to know nothing, but we know she's not innocent. We know that there's more going on with Ougi, and Ougi knows that we know. Ougi knows exactly what we know, but we don't know what Ougi knows. So in truth, we are the ones who know nothing. Decent Black? More like exceptional Black. Just shy of the top spot is Chocolate Insomnia, an opening that continues the story from Sugar Sweet Nightmare using the same imaginative animation, god damn it, from Perfect Slumbers. Despite the arc taking place at the start of second season, Tsubasa Tiger is ultimately the culmination of Hanakawa's high school development, and this opening more than carries its emotional weight. I get chills every time I return to it. The desperate, defeated lyrics of the past are replaced by a much more uplifting song as Hanakawa apologizes for her mistakes. Time and time again, she would say, "This is the last time," only to repeat the cycle. But she's finally done waiting for a prince's kiss to save the day. Even if it pains her, she finally finds the strength within her to move forward. One more time, I closed my eyes and burned into my mind all the days that I spent with you. Though I'm bending my legs, I'm still standing straight. The two versions of this bittersweet track conclude Hanakawa's chapter of unrequited love magnificently, a fitting outcome for such a magnificent character. Can't really do a surprise reveal here since there's only one left, so the title of Best Monogatari OP goes to Moso Express, aka Delusion Express. It might not be as much of a meme as its predecessor, but I will not let the excellence of the Nadeko Medusa opening go understated. It takes the cutesy, innocent aesthetic of Nadeko Snake and turns it into something eerie and sinister, a brilliant shorthand for what the arc as a whole accomplishes. Her cute reservation becomes an unsettling possessiveness, but even when she does retreat to her harmless, disarming mannerisms, she does it deceptively to serve her own ends. My dream is impossible in this world, so I only want one thing. Everything, 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 everything. Every element of Renai circulation gets flipped on its head, and so the music sample at the end invites you to revisit that original song with an entirely new context in mind. Not only is it the perfect follow-up to an already great song, it's also a bop in its own right. Perhaps a future iteration of the series might offer something better, but for now, it's on top. Bow down to the snake god. I forgot to mention this at the end of my last video, but I recently participated in the 5th annual AniTuber anthology over on Under the Scopes YouTube channel. It was put together by Mr. Nice Guy, and a bunch of other anime YouTubers worked collectively on it, talking about space stuff. So if you haven't checked that out already, I did a part on the irresponsible Captain Tyler. It's a good show. I recommend it. Go check out the AniTuber anthology if you want to see my part in that. Or if you just want to be, just see some other cool AniTubers talk about some other cool space anime. We're doing something a bit different with this one once again. Hopefully you enjoyed the results. I just wanted to try to get something else out. Since I knew I was going to be away for a bit in California, I wanted to have something scheduled in advance, so I tried doing something a little different, and I don't know, I like the Monogatari OPs, so I figured why not give it a shot. It was just something I really felt motivated to do, so I did it. And I'm proud that I was actually able to get it done on time, so yay! Special thanks to all my patrons, including King Kevin 30, Stone Cold 007, Roggle, Jackerknife, Potato Gaming HD, and everybody else. If somebody new patroned in the time that since the last video came up, I don't know. This isn't going to be updated properly because, again, I have it scheduled in advance, so sorry. No one ever patrons me, so probably not. But I will see you all next time.